Hello, everybody. It's Trisha Lee. Welcome to the Disruptive Technology Hangout. I'm just going to look over and check and make sure that we're live on our page that I made.
You're not
What?
up there.
What's that?
It's
I'm
off
here.
there.
There we go. Okay, it's live. Awesome. So I'm here with my partner Larry, and we're going to tell you about our epic fail that we had this week. So with all the things we've been studying in Think and Grow Rich, I talk a lot about failure and persistence. One of the main messages that I take away from Think and Grow Rich is you must be persistent because failure is a part of doing business. So our failure, which I'm a little bit sad to announce, but I'm not at all devastated. Like a few months ago, even if this had happened, I probably would have had some downtime, suffering with frustration and depression over the whole situation. But with everything we've been learning, I'm excited. We learned a bunch of stuff, and we're going to move forward to a brighter future. So, Larry, do you want to describe our failure to everybody, please? I'll let you do the.
Yeah, I was just going to mention that my little thing in the corner, it says it's off air.
Well, we're live, so
Oh,
I wouldn't worry about that. We're live on my end.
yeah, usually it says live on my end too. Anyways,
Fine.
I wouldn't. I kind of look at it as a rejection from Kickstarter. Just meaning, I wouldn't call it so much a failure. I think of it more of an opportunity to find a better solution. But yeah, generally we got rejected by Kickstarter, and the reasons were pretty vague. However, um, I think it was because
Oh.
that we didn't really fall into a category with the Kickstarter people because we weren't a type of food, and the idea of picking up recycling with horses and a wagon is really unique. No one else is doing it. However, to make a prototype of it, they say you have to have a prototype. I'm pretty sure what we covered in our information was all kosher, and I'm really not sure exactly why it was rejected. Like I said, it was kind of vague, but mainly what they pointed out was that we didn't really categorize it.
Uh-oh. You broke up on me there a little bit there. I missed what you said, but yes, you got the point across there that all our hard work. We haven't been doing these hangouts regularly like we were before because we got all excited about launching a Kickstarter campaign. We put in hours of work and a lot of blood, sweat, and tears to be able to have an awesome Kickstarter campaign. And I think our video was awesome. I think, and I believe this may or may not be true. They did not mention this at all in the email. However, I do believe that part of the reason why Kickstarter rejected our campaign was because we did use some copyright material in our video, and we put credit for the video. The source of the video on the campaign. However, going through the rules, that is not allowed. So I don't know if you're doing a Kickstarter campaign, it would be interesting to find out if you are able to maybe pay rights to the original creators of copyrighted material in order to incorporate it into a Kickstarter video. That's something that I think we should do a little bit of research on. However, my excitement from this learning experience, which some people would look at as a failure because we failed to launch the campaign. But I'm super excited because I think that our other big idea, if you found this hangout on Facebook, you probably noticed a graphic And if you're on the Hangout page, the graphics all over, plastered all over the background. And what that is Larry's invention, and we've developed a corporation up here in Canada revolving around this device that he's created. And so I think we're going to plug away and immediately switch gears and launch a Kickstarter campaign for that. And in the meantime, we'll try and figure out what went wrong with our other campaign and maybe make some changes or look at a different crowdfunding site to launch that campaign. But I think that what we're doing with our disruptive technology, you can check it out on our website at kingsss.ca. I'll put a link in the description of the Hangout, and you can take a closer look at what it is. But I think it would be perfectly suited for what Kickstarter does. What are your feelings about launching a Kickstarter campaign for King Sunshine, Larry?
Oh, I think there's a lot of aspects on King's with the solar heat collector and electric crown that would definitely be eligible for innovations. Not just the the creation of the solar equipment itself, but a lot of the parts for it are all quite innovative. So there's a lot of things to be covered because it has patents pending on several components. So you wouldn't just you'd be able to cover quite a few.
I am super, super excited because I know we had this summer, a few months ago, we had a big failure in our business. And I got really stuck when that happened. I got depressed and was upset about it. We lost money, and all the things that I've been learning about, especially I'm part of this Facebook group called the Superwoman Connection, and especially from being a part of that and reading all the books that they recommend and going through all their trainings and listening to their daily calls, I've been so inspired to feel gratitude about every challenge and every situation. And I'm grateful that Kickstarter failed to launch our campaign. I was very nervous about launching the campaign and the success about it. And so it's almost like, as much as I was really, really hoping to have a successful campaign with that, it's almost like a weight has been lifted off my shoulders because now I don't have all this promotion to do and all of this like work, because what you've learned, what I've learned and heard from other people that have had successful Kickstarter campaigns and people that have failed at Kickstarter campaigns is that when you launch your campaign, that's when the real work begins, because then you have to go into promotion mode. And I don't know if I was quite ready to jump into promotion mode. I'm just going to look over and check and make sure that we're live on our page. I got this running somewhere else. Oh, there we go. What? Sorry. Whoops. Technical difficulties. But yeah, so I'm grateful because now I have this like weight lifted off my chest that I don't have to worry about promoting this campaign for the next 30 days. So I think that by the time we launch our new campaign, I've been learning all this super cool stuff from the Superwomen about fan pages, and I think that we'll be able to leverage the information that I'm gathering to have a successful Kickstarter campaign in the future with our solar power creation. So just for the people out there that may not be aware of us and what we're doing, can you just briefly describe what your invention is, Larry? And then people that want to know more about it can click the link in the description and go check out our website. Do you just want to give a brief description of what it does, what it is?
It's a solar heat collector that tracks the sun and uses the heat energy that the sun creates to make electricity by using thermoelectric generators, also known as Pelchays. And it's a completely unique process of making electricity. and our patents are pending on the electrocrown, which is a configuration of thermoelectric generators. So how the way it basically works is that the sun, it tracks the sun, follows the sun, and uses a big magnifying glass to heat up a liquid that's at the focal point of the magnifying glass, and then that liquid gets pumped into the thermoelectric generator module, which makes electricity.
And so I know from working with Larry on this project that he is no stranger to setbacks. In the 6 going on 7 years that we've been working on it, I've seen Larry fail forward with grace and style for literally years. On one of the last Disruptive Tech hangouts that we did while I was in Orlando, I think we discussed, or maybe before I left, we discussed the latest failure of our solar heat collection equipment and what happened with some tubing that we had, and now we are waiting for replacement tubing. Can you kind of describe what happened there again for the people that didn't see that particular hangout?
Well, we were given a new type of heat transfer fluid that we tested out because it was supposed to be compatible with the tubing, and it worked very, very well. I was really impressed with the results for about 3 weeks, and then after 3 weeks, the tubing started to deteriorate because there was a certain chemistry about this heat transfer fluid that didn't agree with silicone tubing. And the ironic, I don't know if it's so much ironic or irony, but the manufacturer of the heat transfer fluid that we were testing actually said that it had good compatibility with the type of tubing we use. However, their tests were a different style of test than what we run. When we run the fluid with the tubing, it's a totally different method of using the two together. So they were really surprised when they heard the results. And so we were just trying something new, and it ended up screwing up some of the tubing. I'm really grateful that we only tested it on the hot side of our electric crown. The cold side was still running our regular fluid, which is it loves the tubing we work with. It has never had a problem with it. We were just trying something new to see, because it had better, a higher boiling point. And like I said, for 3 weeks it worked really, really well. However, it just started to degrade the tubing over time, which can happen. But we've kind of, because of that learning experience, we've taken another step forward and an upward step to another heat transfer fluid that we're going to be running, which we know is compatible with the tubing based on our supplier of the tubing's opinion of the material. So I'm pretty excited with that, because also this new heat transfer fluid is also a dark color, which should absorb a lot more heat from the focal point of the magnifying glass.
And I'm grateful that we're going to be using that fluid, because I do believe, correct me if I'm wrong, but you told me that it's much more affordable. Is that right? Or is this new stuff?
This is a totally different product.
Oh.
I'm not even sure.
Was it more? I somehow I remember being all happy because it was going to cost me less money. I don't know.
I'm not even sure what the pricing on it is. It's a pretty standard product used in compressors, so I imagine it's not going to be really expensive material, considering the size of the sample they sent as well.
Right.
Usually when it's a good determining factor when a company sends you a sample. If they send you a little sample like that, you know it's going to be expensive. But if they send you a sample like that, it's usually a lot less expensive.
Oh, okay. So, and that reminds me because I've been doing the accounting for the solar power business, and I have a stack of invoices of costs that we've incurred over the last 7 years. And I have another smaller but equally impressive stack of packing lists that are from all of these companies that have shipped us sample products. And so I'm going to take the 2 piles of paper and make a little video describing the value that's found in these disruptive technology hangouts, because if you go back, I believe it may have been the hangout that we did talking about patents. I'm not positive, but when I make my video showing these stacks of paper of all the free samples that Larry's been able to acquire for the company, I'll put a link to the hangout where he actually describes that the method that he uses with the aid of a business plan to be able to convince these companies to send you samples of their materials and products rather than having to pay for everything all along the way. And just an estimate of probably Larry's got 100 or more different free samples from different companies, and those free samples have probably saved us thousands of dollars. And so if you watch that past hangout that we did and see how Larry describes the method and how he talks to these distributors about what we're using the product for and why we need it and how they are sending it to us for free, that could be super valuable to somebody out there that's an inventor or just building a new business and wanting to try new procedures or methods of operation. Super valuable information, let alone all the details about patents and stuff that are in these hangouts. So, and all of the cool ideas that we've been coming up with for other people's disruptive technology. There's like tons of ideas, and some of the hangouts I think people out there could watch and listen to our ideas and say that's a terrible idea, but you know what would work, and they could like manifest a business out of just one of our dumb ideas, and if they can improve on it and make it a solution to a problem, then away you go. You've got a business just out of an idea. And I was listening to Robert Kiyosaki, the Rich Dad, Poor Dad guru guy, and he was talking about intellectual property, and I think I shared this with you, Larry, and he was going on and on and on about how it's the most valuable asset that your company can have is intellectual property. And so although our Kickstarter campaign was a flop, where we'll keep proceeding with trying to use crowdfunding to fund some of our ideas, and at the same time continue to build our intellectual property because it's super powerful. And then Robert Kiyosaki also talks about an experience that he had with a business where he didn't want to pay the money up front for patents, and oh my gosh, I have felt that because this patenting process has been so expensive. And so many times I thought, what am I getting for this money? I didn't feel the value from it. But after listening to him and hearing about how one of his first very successful businesses failed completely because he did not get patents and did not properly protect his company's IP. And so I'm super excited that Larry pushed me. He had to give me a little push out of my comfort zone to spend literally tens of thousands of dollars on patenting so that we can talk freely about our idea and not have to worry about you going out there and copying us and trying to make a quick buck off of something that you haven't worked on, because we have patent protection, so we can come and sue you if you tried to do that. So it's just really awesome that as an afternote to hear that from someone successful, that yeah, patents are important and that it was the right thing to do, even though it didn't always feel right. So, do you, I was just thinking about our stockpile of Fresnel lenses and how potentially we could give those away as a reward on Kickstarter. Do you want to tell people about where we get the lenses, like the big magnifying glass that we use in your invention, and how we could give them away?
They're on the front of the old-fashioned big screen televisions. That's where you get them. And I don't know if they're on anything else. There's different types. There's different sizes. But yeah, anywhere that's they're still showing up at the recycling depot. So they're out there. You can find those big screen TVs and take them out.
And so we own two corporations here in Canada, and one is our solar power company that we've been talking to at length, and the other is our recycle company. And so that's what our Kickstarter campaign was for our recycling company. And before we went to Kickstarter, we actually applied for government, not the government, but entity that works on behalf of the government to give out, these carbon credits that they collect from polluting companies, and then they're supposed to give them to other companies that are upgrading their equipment for more efficient equipment, and they pay for half the project. So we applied for that a long time ago, and they said no way. So now I'm kind of thinking that maybe with that idea, they put up calls for applications like every 6 months or something. I think we should apply for that again and see if that maybe works while we work on the Kickstarter for the solar power company. But the point I was trying to get across, or that I wanted you to make, was about how we get the lenses for free and how many of them we have, and how we could potentially give them to people as a reward for supporting a Kickstarter campaign. Can you think of any other rewards that we can offer, or what you have in mind?
I haven't given it really a lot of thought yet. I thought, well, from day one, with being that we have intellectual property and
Sorry.
products or TCP treaty or patents in pending, that we would offer a perk of being able to use or license the technology for X amount of dollars. And that idea was something we had talked about before we even started looking at any kind of crowdfunding. We had an objective of contacting different manufacturers around the world to see if they were interested in using the technology that we have. But it's a little early to do that right now because we still have some proving ground to cover.
Well, just so you all know, on the website, if you check it out, our invention, it works. It makes electricity, and there is a ton of heat energy that we're producing with this device, and so it's super, 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 super exciting. We're like this close. We're like so on the cusp of having some major developments go on. So right now we're just perfecting the technology, and I'm super, super excited because I work with a gentleman on a ranch, and he is my mentor. I absolutely adore this man, and he has agreed to put our equipment to work on his farm. And so he runs a boiler system, and then of course uses electricity like everybody else for. So we want to We're so excited because we're making this transition, me and him, from this like employer-employee relationship to business partners. So I'm like, woohoo, this is awesome. So he's going to test our equipment for us out on his farm. I'm super excited because we're going to be moving it out there in the next few days. And I know that he's going to have some really great insight and ideas on how to improve and perfect the technology, because farmers are super fascinating people. They are very, very innovative when it comes to solving problems, because out on the farm you have all kinds of problems that come up and you have to think on your feet, and I've watched him so many times come up with these solutions to like simple problems that we have on the farm. And so I think that he'll help us out with some really simple and awesome solutions to making our technology as efficient and inexpensive as is humanly possible. So yeah, I'm super excited about working with him. And then, so in our recycling company, we pick up electronics, which include these big screen TVs. And when we get our hands on a big screen TV, we take this Fresnel lens off of it. So, and if you really, really want to get scientific about what we're doing, you can look up Fresnel and you can look up Peltier. Because basically what we've done is we've taken really old technology from like hundreds of years ago. Like Fresnel lenses have been around for hundreds of years, and then Peltier effects have been around for like at least 100 years or whatever too. But if you look at those two scientists and what they did, we basically took their technology, modernized it, and are using it in a new way. So it's super exciting. And I'm looking forward to having a successful Kickstarter campaign that actually launches. And the thing about it, too, from what I understand with Kickstarter, is a lot of times we may have another campaign and we may successfully launch it. However, we may not reach our goal, our fundraising goal, and in that case, it's a failure too. So that's a possibility that could happen, and that was something that I was thinking about while we were preparing to launch our Recycle Kickstarter campaign. I was prepared that we might not reach our goal, and it might be a lot of work for nothing. And yeah, that turned out what it would be. But with we'll continue to move forward. We got lots of really cool ideas that we think other people would see value in and support a Kickstarter that we come up with. So we're just going to throw a whole bunch of them out there in the coming months, and I think that we'll get better at developing them, and at some point we'll have a successfully launched and successfully funded Kickstarter campaign in the very near future. I'm super looking forward to it. And yeah, it's all a learning process, and like you said, it's not necessarily failure when you learn from it. So all those things that we look at in life and say, oh, that was a mistake, oh, I did that wrong. Well, yeah, but did you learn anything? Well, if you learn something, then it's not so much of a failure or a mistake if there's a valuable lesson to be found. And there always is if you look for it. Sometimes we let fear and doubt get in the way, and we don't see the valuable lessons that come from the hardships, tragedies, whatever life throws at you, because it happens no matter what you do. Even if you're living a mediocre life and don't even have any goals and aren't even trying to achieve anything, you still have like stuff happens. So you might as well have a big dream that you're pursuing and deal with the stuff based on following your passion, rather than just have tragedies drop in your life when you're just, getting by and not really thinking about the future. I know, I've been there. I've been the person just, going along, not really knowing where I'm going or having any direction, and life is so much better when you have a goal. Even when you're, falling flat on your face trying to get there, at least you're doing something. So, do you have some more thoughts about anything about Kickstarter or where we're going with this hangout, or do you have something to say, Larry?
I think, like you were mentioning, as far as failures go, I look at it as kind of like shooting hoops, is where in business, it's like taking practice shots. Eventually, you're going to start making baskets if you do it long enough. Just keep shooting, like in basketball, shooting at the hoop. Sometimes you're going to hit the rim, sometimes you're going to hit the backboard, but sometimes it's going to go in. And every time it goes in, that means you've gotten better and you've moved forward. And so that's perseverance in business as well. Like you never quit, you just keep going, and eventually you'll reach your goal. Like what we're doing is really not a it's not a difficult task. It's never been done before, but that doesn't mean it's a difficult task. One main thing that people have to realize when we talk about working on something for 7 years, that's a business that is developing based on solar availability. So we live in an area of the world which gets 33% of our year is direct sunlight. So if you can imagine going to your job 33% of the day. So you start work at 8 o'clock in the morning, you go home at 11, you're not going to get a whole lot of work done. However, that's just the way it is in the solar industry when you're inventing something or creating something new. And also, um, sometimes when you do make a discovery, a positive discovery, or even a not so positive discovery, you find a solution and you're ready to test out the solution, but guess what? It's cloudy.
Well, yeah, but luckily we are located in sunny Alberta, which is kind of a blessing and a curse at the same time, because here in Alberta we actually get the most amount of direct sunlight than any other province in Canada, but also we have the largest oil and gas sector industry in Canada here in Alberta, with our oil tar sands up north where they're strip mining and making a big mess of our environment. Yeah, so there's not a lot of government or other, uh, even general support from the general public. They kind of like the idea. However, a lot of even friends and family see it as a threat to their livelihood because so many of them are so heavily involved with oil and gas industry. And it's just where we are in this province. I remember when we went to Germany, like I'd say 50% of the businesses and homes had solar panels on the roof. If you come to even our big city in Edmonton, Alberta, I'm not sure how it is in Calgary, but in Edmonton, Alberta, it is less than 1% of the businesses and homes that have solar power. Less than 1%. Even in Amish country, I was in Amish country and I saw more solar panels out in Ohio where I don't even think they're supposed to have electricity, the Amish people, but I don't know exactly how it works. I wish I could have spent more time there and met more people and got to know a little bit more about their culture, but I know that the couple that was teaching the horsemanship training that I took, they had solar panels and they had power they said it was just for lights, that they just used it for lights. So I guess, they got to see, I guess, that it's, for them, it's okay to have solar power, and they also use natural gas for their stove and fridge and stuff. So
You gotta have lights in the casino too, eh?
Yeah, I know. Well, I guess maybe their aversion is not so much aversion to electricity, but they just don't want radio and television and the media influence as part of their culture, because they don't, or motor vehicles, because yeah, they seem to be okay with using solar power, but they didn't have, you know, power lines. They weren't tied into some coal-fired plant or some nuclear plant or whatever, like, or hydro plant or whatever. I think Ohio probably uses coal for their power generation more than likely. I'm not sure, but anyway, I just think that with what we're doing, potentially people like the Amish may want to use more electricity for different things if it's created in a way that is not a detriment to the environment as a whole. I think that those people are really close to the earth with the work that they do as old school farming. Pretty hard to get much closer to nature than pushing a plow with a horse through a field. So, or piling a haystack by hand. So I'm not sure what their aversion to electricity is, if it's just the way that it's made. It must be the way that it's made, not particularly electricity itself, because they had solar panels and they were happy to have to be able to use lights that were powered by the sun. So it was pretty cool. And I think everybody out there, even the people in the oil patch that kind of see the idea as a threat to their livelihood, I think that they more so kind of feel a little bit of guilt inside, knowing that the work that they do is not really leaving the world a better place than what they found it. Like, if you, I mentioned before, check out the movie Petropolis. That takes you just north of here. It's like Metropolis, but spelled petro, like petroleum. So Petropolis, it should still be on the internet, and you can see what's going on just a few miles north of here. Well, it's hundreds of miles away from here, but it is close by on the grand scheme of things. And all that documentary is air footage, like footage from an airplane, and music. They don't say anything. They don't pass judgment on it. They don't say this is right, this is wrong. They just show you exactly what's going on there and let you be the judge. So even the people that feel that what we're trying to do is a little bit of a threat to their livelihood, I think deep down they know that what's going on up near Fort McMurray, Alberta, is more of a threat to their livelihood than losing their job. Do you have any thoughts on being in the solar and recycling business in Alberta and the challenges that that brings, Larry?
Yeah, kind of like a fish out of water. That's really the way I feel. And nobody's wanting to put any water in the fish tank.
Yeah, somehow it feels like if we were in California that things would be progressing a little more fast, or if we were in Europe, it does. I do get a sense that we would have applied for, if we were in anywhere in Europe and we applied for government funding for our recycle program, I'm pretty sure we would have got it. I don't know, the people there just think differently here. In North America, all throughout North America, there's so much abundance, and the resources that we have available to us, it's just rape and pillage, man, because it's going to last forever. Like, and it feels that way. Like when you get into an airplane and you fly over Canada, it is absolutely flabbergasting how much wilderness there is out there. There's so much wilderness. But just because we have an abundance of all these resources does not mean that we should not be using them responsibly. And when you go to a place like in Europe, they have more people than resources, quite the opposite of Canada. And so they think a little bit differently. They really are interested in protecting the little bit of resources that they have, and they're very responsible with how they use their resources. Like, you even look on their roads, all the cars are much more smaller, more fuel efficient. Here we have big trucks and they got nuts hanging off the tailgate. I don't get that. I don't know what that's about, but I know that they have them. Big SUVs, big gas guzzling, big vehicles, and And yeah, people are just happy to drive everywhere. And I know that in Europe, yeah, so many people on bikes, so much more available public transportation and more widely used public transportation there. Like so many people I seen coming with bikes and getting on the trains, and like you go to one of our local cities like Calgary or Edmonton, and yeah, there's people on the trains, but they're it's never packed. In Germany, those trains are always packed with people, and also the public transit in Alberta, it's just not. It doesn't have the best access. Like there's lots of places and communities that you are not able to get to using public transport because they just don't service like these rich neighborhoods and stuff like that. They're kind of stay around the core city center. You can get around pretty good, but for certain areas, there's just no access, and that's because we have lots of oil resources, and everybody's cashing in and making lots of money, and they can afford to buy these big vehicles and put gas in them, and they like driving, and even like as a hobby on the weekend, as a pastime, like here in Alberta, so many people, it's like, let's go tear up the countryside with a snowmobile or a quad, or drive over some trees with our ATV. That's like the big fun around here. And like to me, it's like I'd rather be on my horse or take a bike ride or just go for a walk than be on some motorized equipment. I don't know. I guess I got my fill of Need for Speed riding around on Harleys when I was like in my 20s, and I'm just over it. So yeah, it does sometimes feel like a fish out of water because, however, at the same time, I do have to commend Alberta for their recycling. When I was in Orlando, Florida, I didn't really notice too many recycle bins. At the big fancy hotel where the conference was, they had bins for like pop cans and plastic bottles. But everywhere else that I went to in Orlando, I didn't see any signs of recycling. I think at the airport and at the big fancy hotel, but at just going around the city, other places, I didn't notice any. And then I know in Texas, like they were still throwing pop cans and pop bottles in the garbage when we were there. And Alberta has for a very long time been quite good with their recycle programs. Well, you have to at least admit to that, hey Larry. Although we're in oil and gas country, they like to recycle around here.
Yeah, I was making a comment earlier about being a fish out of water in regards to the solar company. I didn't really make a comment on the recycling because you kind of went off on another topic. But what I was going to say was that with the even with the approaching of a different company in the United States regarding what we're doing with solar, and there's a understanding in the United States that their government and the Department of Energy in the United States is really going gangbusters right now on solar power. So in this conversation we had with this manufacturer of this new heat transfer fluid, I mentioned to them that we haven't really had much support for what we're trying to do up here, and I mentioned to them on the phone that if their heat transfer fluid was successful in our application, it would mean that we'd be using their fluid. And in the conversation, I asked the technician, and this is the senior technician of this corporation. It's a big company making this heat transfer fluid. And he mentioned that it would definitely be, I said, we've been trying to find someone to partner with on a project for the Department of Energy in the United States because the Department of Energy there, their Sunshot program, is really supporting solar technology, not just solar panels, but any kind of solar technology that creates energy. And the reaction of this guy was yes, without any hesitation. Reason being that because they're Americans, they're already involved with the energy business with their product in other areas of energy. That yes, they would definitely be interested in partnering with somebody north of the border that has unique technology that doesn't exist south of the border. So that in itself, if you wanted to talk about the support environment here with what we've been trying to do locally, um, I don't know why. It's just the way it is. Not much we can do about it. We don't have a lot of support here.
Yeah, except for maybe move. So, yeah, I don't know. I suppose we could look at moving, but that's not going to happen right away. But in the meantime, yeah, I think we have to prosper where we're planted, and I think that we can easily do that with the way things are changing. Because I think the Beatles really, really nailed it with their song that you have to admit it's getting better, a little better all the time, because it truly is. And even here where oil and gas is kind of king, people are seeing changes that they don't like, and so they're starting to change the way that they think because they're seeing that in the long term, this resource grab that's going on around Fort McMurray is not beneficial to them and their families. And so, it's like one person at a time that, comes to this realization that, hey, we got to do things a little bit differently. Our modern society is not ready to stop or turn around or go back. In a lot of ways, no one is prepared to do that, and there's so many people in developing countries in the third world that are striving to reach our standard of living, and they should have our standard of living. And there's no reason with the abundance that exists in the world that anybody should be living in poverty. And so more and more people are starting to realize that and making changes that will affect that all the different areas of our life. Like, the way I look at it is every problem that exists on the planet is an opportunity for a solution. And I think every single person out there has an equal potential to take an opportunity that exists out there and turn it into a profitable business by solving problems. And so you just got to kind of keep your ear to the ground and your eyes open of what are the problems that exist out there in the world. And definitely, I don't buy into this whole carbon emission, greenhouse gas stuff, but I do see pollution as being a problem that affects every living thing on the planet. And so coming up with a solution for that's a big deal. However, there's lots and lots of smaller problems that probably have much simpler solutions that won't take 7 years to implement, that are opportunities for anybody that's looking for an opportunity. That is the secret. Find a problem, find a solution, and boom, you have a successful business on your hands. That's how the market works. And so it's super exciting to be just thinking about what the problems are and what the solutions could be. And that's kind of what this hangout is all about. It's all about the new technology that is coming out, rocking the boat, stirring the pot, shaking things up a little bit, and disrupting business as usual for the better. So it's just a matter of, finding a problem to solve. And if everybody was focused on solutions rather than problems, I think that a lot of the problems that exist on this planet would go away in a hurry. However, I see that there's like a mass brainwashing that goes on, mostly from the news media, that teaches us, and even in school, to focus on problems. And so many people focus on the problems and don't even think about solutions. And the solutions are out there waiting for us. So it's our duty to always be searching for solutions to all the problems: poverty, um, the environment, the domestic violence. There's all kinds of problems out there, and every single one of them has opportunity for solutions. So I don't have too much more to say, but I do want to encourage everybody to click the link and start blogging, because that will help everyone to know about what you care about, what your solution is. Hi, James. And what the problem that you want to solve is. And so a blog is like, it's like an internet log. It's like a diary, and you can share your solutions or your ideas of what problems need solutions, or all kinds of stuff. It's just an awesome place to share information. And if you're watching this video on our free energy page, well, you're on a blog. So, and it's actually quite simple and streamlined to be able to put whatever business idea you have out there is using a blog. And if our Kickstarter campaign had actually launched, I would have been promoting it with a blog. So if you're in any business, or even if you just have a hobby that you're really passionate about, a blog is an awesome way to share it on the internet. It's like a website, but it's better. So you can click the link on the page, or find it in the description on the YouTube copy of the Hangout, and learn about Project AWOL. AWOL stands for Another Way of Life, and that's what we're living. We are making a living during the day, and we are using our spare time to build our empire. And a big part of it is the blogging system that we're involved with. There's all kinds of awesome resources, books that can help you on your journey, conference calls, and hangouts, some more training hangouts, not really like this hangout that's just informative, but actual training that shows you how to do all these awesome things on the internet that all kind of lead back to blogging. So you can click the link and check that out and find out what that's about. And I hope that you'll come join us again on our Hangout. Do you have any final thoughts for our viewers, Larry?
No, that covers it all for me. That's great stuff about the blogging.
Yeah, Larry's not a huge fan of blogging, but he knows about it. He has one, but I don't think he's too active on it. But anyway, I am super excited to be sharing this Hangout with you, and I'm looking forward to having some special guests join us in the very near future on some more Hangouts where we'll be talking about other people's disruptive technology. This Hangout kind of focused on us and our recycle company and our disruptive solar power company. However, many of our previous Hangouts and many of our future Hangouts actually talk about other companies and their technology and how we see it as being disruptive to the status quo and business as usual. So please join us again on our future Hangouts. Go out there and make it a great day. And if I don't see you in the future, I will see you tomorrow morning out in the pasture. And I just want everybody out there to know that I'm a firm believer that in this life, anybody can be, do, and have anything that they want. Or we can have everything we want. And I choose everything, and I hope you will too, because you can. And if you're not sure how, click the link, start blogging, and it'll all come together for you. It's amazing. Thanks for watching, everybody. Good night, Larry.